If your phone calls home feel like this,
I just want to talk.
Want to talk about what?
then I'm here to help. In this video, I'm going to share with you why I call home, and more importantly, what I say when I do call home to make those calls easier. But before we get too far in the video, let's play that intro. So why you call the parents of some students? Before you even dial a number, you want to make sure you know the answer to that question, because it's going to change the way you talk to parents as well as what you talk about with the parents. Calling home to let them know little Susie is doing great, it's much different than calling home to let them know that little Susie punched a little boy in the mouth because he called her an inappropriate name. For the sake of this video, I'm going to basically be talking about calling home on behavior issues.
Sarge, I got great news.
When I was a younger teacher, I would call home with the hopes that the parent and myself could collaborate to come up with a plan that would be conducive for the student to act appropriately in my class. That never really happened. More often than not, when I called home, this is what I got. You know, I'm having the same problem at home and I just don't know what to do. What do you think I should do? What do you mean you don't know what to say or to do with your kid? Oh my gosh, that's the reason I'm calling, because I don't know what to say or do with your kid. I was hoping you would have an answer for me. Now, don't get me wrong. There were times I call home and I would hear this. Don't worry, I'll talk to my son. Or even better, oh, this was the best. Even better, and this rarely happened, but when it did, it was fantastic. I would hear this. I'll tell you what, I'm going to come down tomorrow and I'm going to watch him in your class. That is when I saw some changes in the students, is when the parents actually came into class and observed their son or daughter. But beyond that, calling home with the hopes that the parents could do something to change the behavior of the student in my class, more often than not, I was left disappointed. So if I don't call home with the hopes of changing the student's behavior with the parents' help, well, why do I call home? Well, I'm glad you asked. The reason is I call home mainly for documentation. Let me explain. At my school, the administration has asked, and I think it's definitely a fair request, that we have at least 3 interventions with the student before we actually send them to the office. So intervention could be a quick talk, could be a detention that we assign, it could be moving seats, something. We do 3 interventions with the student before we send them to the front office. But part of that intervention is each time we do one of those, or for all of them or for one of them, we should call home and let the parents know what's going on. And that is why I document things.
Get out there and document everything.
So the bulk of my phone calls home are me just making sure I document that I contacted parent and advised them of what happened in my class. 2 side notes here before we go any further. Most of my phone calls, so I would say probably about half of my phone calls home happen within the first 3 weeks of class, because those first 3 weeks I'm just really working hard to set the expectations, the standard, and the climate of the class, and that requires me to intervene a lot with the students and also requires me to call home a lot. So I would say probably about half of my phone calls home happen within the first 3 weeks. And the other thing is I never call home during class. I remember I used to do this before. I would try a couple of times calling home, a student would be acting up in class. I would call home and try with the hopes that the parents could talk to them, and then that would hopefully change the student's behavior. And that really happens. Maybe I call home, it's the wrong number. I call home, parents not there, leave a message. I call home, and next thing I know, I hear the student and the parent arguing on the phone. Once it goes back to the whole thing, you know, the parents saying, I don't know what to do with them. They do the same thing at home. So they would hang up the phone call with the parent and I would feel defeated. And I had no more options, all right? I had no more options, defeated. And the behavior only got worse in class from there. So I don't call home during class. So enough about why I call home. Let me kind of share with you what I say when I do call home. I would say about half the time I call home, this is what I hear and this is what I say.
Please leave your message after the tone.
Hi, this is Mr. Vio calling from Monte Vista Middle School. I'm Juan's history teacher. If you could just give me a call back at your earliest convenience, it'd be greatly appreciated. My number is... We were advised by administration not to leave a message with the details of what happened, mainly for litigation reasons. We're trying to avoid some sort of lawsuit and who knows, privacy and everything else. So when I call home, once again, I don't leave any details of what happened, the interaction in the classroom. I just ask for the phone call back. But let me kind of give you an example of what I might say if I actually do get hold of a parent. It's a long number, must be an international call. Hi, this is Mr. Vio calling from Monte Vista Middle School. Is this Mr. Rodriguez? Oh, it is. Great, great. Hey, I'm Juan's history teacher, and the reason I'm giving you a call because I was having some trouble with Juan in class today. We were doing an assignment, and everybody's in their seat working, and Juan just kept getting out of his seat. I gave him several warnings, but he just seemed to keep doing it and keep doing it. So I finally had to issue a detention. So I'm just calling to make sure you're okay with the detention. It'd be tomorrow at lunchtime for about half an hour. So I just want to make sure you're aware of it and see if you had any questions and just make sure you're okay with it. It's usually at this point that parents either want more information regarding what happened in the class, or they might just give me the okay for detention, or we'll work out some other consequence. Either way, I fulfilled my purpose, which was to contact parents and document the conversation. But before we leave, I just want to cover all bases, and so I usually have a quick little discussion about the students' grades in my class. Since I have you on the phone, I just wanted to let you know that Juan currently has 8 missing assignments in the class, and his current grade is a D. If you or Juan ever wanted to bring that grade up, just let me know. I'd be more happy to provide extra credit so we can get that grade up. But once again, just let me know. I'd be more than happy to help you any which way I can. But once again, thank you for your time, and you have a good day. If you've been doing this job at any amount of time, you know that these phone calls can quickly go downhill at any point in time. And next thing you know, the parents are blaming you for their kids' behavior. They're blaming you and they're saying, why didn't you do this? Or so forth. And first thing I want to make sure you know is this, that you are a good teacher. You are doing a good job. The parents know what their kids are doing. They know what their kids are doing. And the kids know what they are doing. But the parents are just looking for some sort of scapegoat, and you happen to be it.
Sure, find a scapegoat.
So if a parent tries to turn the tables on you, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a difficult conversation. But just buckle up and just remember the whole purpose of the conversation is not to argue with the parent, not to defend your side, but just to have the conversation and document that you did contact the parent. So here are some of the lines that I use if that ever happens when I call home. I'm sorry you feel that way, but I can promise you everything I do in my class, I do with the purpose of making it the best learning environment for all of my students. I'm sorry you feel that way, but I promise you my whole goal is to provide the best learning environment for all my students. I'm sorry you think I'm picking on your son, but I promise you I do my very best to treat all the students the same. I'm sorry if you think I'm not fair. I have to make sure that I do everything I can to create the best learning environment for all our students. And if one keeps getting out of a seat, it disrupts all the other students and kind of takes away from their learning environment. I just got to make sure I'm fair to all of my students. Once again, I don't argue, I don't debate, I don't have to defend my worthiness as a teacher. You and I are doing the best we can to help the greatest amount of kids in our class. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want any more tips and tricks of the trade, just click on one of the links here. And remember, stay zesty.